ever feel like you're spending more time trying to manage your life than actually living it? Because everywhere you look now, there's another hack, a better system, a smarter routine, a way to optimize something you didn't even know needed optimizing. And at some point, you start to wonder, if your life needs constant hacks, something might be off. Not you, your life. Because every time you turn around, somebody's telling you how to fix it, how to optimize it, how to streamline it, how to wake up earlier, how to declutter better, how to schedule smarter, how to finally become the version of yourself whose life actually works. Now, I'll be honest, I've read the books, I've tried the systems and the routines, I've watched the videos about the perfect morning, the perfect planner, the perfect way to organize your house, your time, and your mind. And for a while, you feel good about it. Like maybe this is the one. Maybe this is the thing that will finally make life feel manageable. And then it doesn't. And you're left with this feeling like, is it me? What am I doing wrong? Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Rachel, and this is basically where we sit down with coffee and talk about how to stay sane and human in a world that feels like it's determined to drive us crazy or turn us into full-time self-improvement projects. I hear from people of all ages, men and women, who feel this same ridiculous pressure. Different details sometimes, but the same constant sense that they're supposed to be doing life better than they are. This isn't just a woman thing. It's all of us. So, as always, I am talking about something that's been on my mind lately. What if the goal isn't a better life hack, but living a life you don't constantly need to hack? Because I've noticed the algorithm has been serving me this steady stream of hacks again. Life hacks, home hacks, productivity hacks, morning routine hacks. Ways to improve this and streamline that. Optimize everything. And of course, I watched them. I'm not immune, but this isn't new. I have been down this road before. A few times, actually. Okay, several times, actually. So I figured at first, okay, maybe it's just that time of year again. New Year energy. Everyone trying to reset their lives, get organized, fix everything. The whole cycle. I get it. I've done it. But watching some of that again just reminded me how easy it is to fall back into that mindset where suddenly your life feels like a project. Like there's always something else you should be improving. Some better system you should be using. Some better version of yourself you should be trying to become. Because you try the productivity method, you try the decluttering method, you try the routine. You try the influencer schedule, and you keep thinking, okay, maybe this next one will be the one that makes everything click. I have had that thought before, and shocker, it never works. In case you've somehow escaped this and don't know, a hack is basically a workaround, a shortcut, a patch, a way to manage friction. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with a good shortcut. But if every part of your life needs a workaround, maybe the issue isn't that you haven't found the right hack. Maybe there's just too much friction, too many systems, too many expectations, too many things that don't actually fit you. Now, for instance, I have tried the perfect morning routine before. Not waking up early, I'm actually a morning person these days, but the full production, the journaling, the stretching, the lemon water, the meditation, the gratitude, the visualization. Apparently becoming a completely different human before 7 a.m. And for a while you think, okay, maybe this is what's missing. And then you realize, maybe nothing is missing. Maybe you just don't need that much structure to be okay. What actually works for me? Simple. I get up, I stretch a little bit, I grab a cup of coffee, and I come outside, and I just sit. I watch the sunrise. I watch Reggie and the deer in the field. That is my morning meditation. So, just out of curiosity the other day, I Googled life, home, and organizing hacks, and thousands of videos came up. Thousands. Just endless scrolling, hack your mornings, hack your kitchen, hack your closet, hack your productivity, hack your brain, hack your laundry, hack your entire existence, apparently. And I'm sitting there thinking, what the fuck? Don't get me wrong. I am not judging. I am absolutely guilty of this myself. I've watched some of these videos, saved them, tried them, but seriously, what are we doing? At some point, the hacks themselves started needing hacks. And let's be honest, a lot of those hacks somehow require us to buy more stuff. Another container, another system, another thing to help manage all the other things. I mean, come on. And that is where I stepped back and thought, okay, I don't need a better system for my life. I just need less to manage. Not in a throw everything away and live in an empty house way. Just in a maybe I don't need a strategy for every square inch of my existence kind of way. Because when everything needs a hack, it starts to feel like life itself is the problem. And I don't think that's the case at all. I think we're just buried under a lot of noise about how it's supposed to be done. I think part of what's underneath all this constant need to optimize our lives, is just a more polished version of keeping up with the Joneses. It's not always about having more anymore. Now it's about having the right routine, the right system, the right level of organization. We don't just want a clean house. We want a clean house that suggests that we have somehow got our lives together. We don't want to just get organized. We want the kind of matching bins that make it look like we know what we're doing, which I admit is something I have tried several times. And somehow I just end up with more containers full of crap I do not need. And what makes it harder now is that it's not just our neighbors we're trying to keep up with anymore. It's the internet and social media. It's influencers and experts. It's self-help books or podcasts. It's people telling you how to wake up, how to clean, how to organize, how to rest, how to be productive, how to be less productive, but in the right way. There is no shortage of people telling us there is something wrong with our lives. And to be fair, yeah, we all have things we could probably do better. But at some point, it starts to feel like the default message is, you're not quite doing this right yet. There is a better way to exist, and you just haven't found it yet. And it doesn't matter if you are 25 or 65. I hear it from people in their 20s who already feel behind, and people in their 60s and 70s and even 80s who feel like they're supposed to reinvent everything again. Same pressure, different stage. And after a while, that gets kind of heavy, because you're not just living your life anymore. You're evaluating it, comparing it, trying to improve it, trying to optimize it all the time. And lately, I have felt less like I need another influence and more like I need to de-influence myself a little. Not from everything, just from the constant message that my life is a problem to solve. Because when you step back, you realize a lot of us are looking around going, what the hell are we even doing? I don't think that's a sign that we're failing. I think it's a sign that we're getting a little tired of trying to live up to a version of life that really wasn't ours to begin with. And honestly, no wonder we're stressed. No wonder we're overwhelmed. No wonder every little thing sets us off. We are trying to live our actual lives, and we're also running this constant background program of, how do I do this better? What am I missing? What am I doing wrong? That's a lot. We're not just living anymore. We're managing the idea of our lives, and that is exhausting. If every corner of your life feels like something that needs improvement, optimizing, or fixing, you're never actually getting to relax inside it. You're always adjusting, tweaking, maintaining. So, of course we're tired. Of course we're overstimulated. Of course the smallest inconvenience can feel like the last straw when everything already feels like a project. Now, here's the part that's helped me the most. My life isn't perfect. It's not optimized. There are absolutely things about it I'd change if I could. But there's also parts of it that are really good. I've created little pockets of calm that feel like mine. My backyard, my front porch, my family, and a very small group of friends. That's been a much more realistic kind of peace than trying to overhaul everything. Because most of us aren't going to wake up tomorrow and redesign our entire lives. We still have responsibilities. We still have limitations. We still have reality. But we can make our lives more livable inside those realities. Not perfect, not aesthetic, not optimized, just better to be in. And look, deep down, I think most of us actually know what we need. Or maybe more accurately, what we don't need. We know when something feels unnecessary. We know when we're overcomplicating things. We know when we're buying something because we're stressed or bored, not because we need it. We know when a system doesn't fit our actual lives. We all have this little voice that goes, yeah, this isn't it. We just don't always listen to it because there is so much noise telling us there's a better way, a smarter way, a more optimal way. I don't think the answer is another system or gadget. Maybe it's just listening to that voice and doing things our own way. Not perfectly, just realistically. So, save your money on the hacks and the books and the organizing systems and the influencer storefronts. Not because those things are bad, but because most of the time you already know what needs to change. You just need to do it your way, at your pace, in your actual life. So if there is any guidance here, it is not a new system. It's more like a few things that helped me breathe again. Instead of asking myself, how do I manage all this? I ask, do I actually need all of this? Most of the time, the answer is nope. Instead of trying to fix every friction point, I try to remove a few. Instead of following every piece of advice, I try to listen for what actually fits my life. And instead of trying to become a completely different person, I try to make my actual life more livable, right where I am. If you're also a little tired of being told how to optimize every corner of your life, you're in good company here. So consider sticking around. That is pretty much the kind of thing we talk about here on a regular basis. I think at some point, a lot of us are just getting tired of trying to become the version of ourselves that finally has everything figured out. I'm pretty sure that none of us are ever going to completely do that. There's something relieving about realizing that maybe you don't need a better hack. You just need a life that fits you a little bit better. Not perfect, not optimized, just livable. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Take care of you, and I will see you the next time. Bye-bye.